In my day-to-day work, I work with 26 different markets. And in my team, we create and implement the strategy for employer brand. I am here today to talk to you about how to get buy-in for your employer brand strategy. I do want to make a disclaimer, though, because I do feel that I'm in no position to give all the answers. This is merely a retrospective or a reflection of what I have learned up until now. I'm definitely still on the journey, still learning, and still figuring it out, basically. Today, a lot of people came over and said, oh my God, you're so lucky, everyone kind of knows Vodafone. But in reality, as every other business, there's a lot of challenges, even for us. So one of them is our perception as a brand, as an employer brand. Most people think that Vodafone sells phones, and sometimes people ask me which store I work at. In reality, we do sell phones, but we also provide something a little bit bigger than that, which is connectivity. And through connectivity, there's just so many things that you can basically do. And that is the stories that we want to tell in employer brand. So let's go through my retrospective and some of the things that I have learned, and hoping that it can help you guys find your own way of doing things. I've been at Vodafone for 6 years, and I do come from a marketing background. So it was an interesting roller coaster ride to get used to HR and also how things work. So the number one thing that I learned in my 2.5 years in the role was to understand your stakeholders, which I think is also a bit marketing 101. Know your audience, who are you targeting, who are you talking to? So usually people would think that for employer brand, there's like HR and brand that are the main stakeholders. In reality, there's like internal comms, social media teams, innovation teams, external affairs, and lots of different other parts of the world. And I think for us, the biggest challenge was, how do you actually position employer brand within an already huge and, let's say, organized company? Basically, you have to understand who you are talking to, who you need to work with, who are your motivators, who are your detractors, who you need to suck up to, pretty much. After that, there are a couple of other things that we can definitely do, but it's important to know target audience, who we're talking, and how we can leverage them. And then, coming from a marketing background, I was actually a bit surprised that we don't take a little bit more from marketing itself. As in, I know that we can never match them with resources or big budgets, that's for sure. But there is something about the approach and the way how they do things. So for example, research. In marketing, people create campaigns or products, everything based on a specific insight. And I think that's important for us as well to know when we work in employer brand. In our example at Vodafone, for example, when we started our journey, probably about 5-6 years ago, so not really a long time, that's the first thing that we did. So we did the research and we got the insights from our own employees, and that was what shaped our EVP. And that was kind of a no-brainer, because if people have fed into your EVP, then they will believe in it, and then they will promote it as well. And then a recent example was just almost 2 years ago, and I don't know how many of you remember when we went through a brand repositioning as a company. We moved from Vodafone Power to You to a new tagline, Vodafone, the future is exciting, ready. And that was the first time that we worked quite closely with the brand team. And I think we had the most benefits out of it, because we used their resources and we used all of their basically brain power and every agency help that we could get to be more aligned with the brand. And now, instead of having two separate a commercial brand and an employer brand, we basically give the same promise to candidates, customers, business partners, suppliers, anyone, that the future is exciting, ready. I really like this picture, and I think I've overused it so much at work in the past few months, but I think it definitely encompasses the employer brand, because we're humble paper airplane, but we are expected to walk or fly as fast and do as much things as a big jet airplane. So what I have learned is that obviously there are some things that in employer brand you will never really get to do because, as I said, you don't have the resources or the budget like I used to when I work in the brand team. But still, there are some little things that can maybe get you somewhere there. And sometimes it's just a matter of trial and error, and try your luck or try what you can do to show people that I had no resources and very little budget and I did this. But if you give me just a little bit more, maybe I can do even more. So one thing that we did at Vodafone, for example, was set up a Vodafone careers page on Facebook. And I know that we discussed earlier about channels and things like that. And we made a proper business case as to why we need a page. And in reality, it actually didn't cost us money to make this happen. But then we gave the opportunity to markets and everyone in HR to actually reach more people. But if we had a little bit more media budget, then we could also do some sponsored posts, which it turned true. And right now we have about 280,000 followers in less than 2 years. So my first GIF or second GIF. I'm pretty sure that you guys all know content, video content is like king right now. I think 80 to 90% of content online is video. And everyone loves video. Our SLT loves video. We should make one out of everything. But they don't really come very cheap. And they obviously need a lot of effort and things like that. So before I go further, I will show you a video, and then I will ask you a question. So please pay attention to it. Oh, I think I have to click.
Aquí, cada día es diferente.
Vodafone για μένα σημαίνει ασφάλεια, οικογένεια.
Η Vodafone μου έδωσε την ευκαιρία να ασχοληθώ με την τεχνολογία που τόσο αγαπάω, τη στιγμή που εγώ σκεφτόμουν να φύγω από τη χώρα.
Η Vodafone μου δίνει την ευελιξία να συνδυάζω το πάθος με την τεχνολογία με τις σπουδές μου.
عمري ما حسيت هنا إن حقوقي أو فرصي أقل عشان أنا ست. بالعكس، فودافون شجعتني إني أكتشف البوتنشال بتاعي وأقدر أوصل ليه.
Siempre me he sentido apoyada como empleada y como mujer.
احنا هنا بنساعد بعض زي ما بنساعد غيرنا، وبقينا أكتر من مجرد زمايل في الشغل.
Οι άνθρωποι κάνουν τη διαφορά στην εταιρεία και αυτό το νιώθουν οι πελάτες.
لو سمعت من حد كلام حلو عن الورك انفايرمنت هنا صدقوا هنا أحسن مكان ممكن تشتغل فيه وتعمل عيلة ليك في الشغل كمان.
Somos una gran familia.
كل يوم باجي فودافون وعارف إنه بيتي التاني.
Es una gozada trabajar aquí.
We can do it like an auction. How much do you think we spent for this video? You can just shout out different values. £5,000. Yes. Any other guesses? Okay. This does sound like an auction. Okay. Any other guesses? No, we have 500, 5,000, 10,000. Nothing. I wish. Okay, so I think 5,000 is the closest one. But in reality, we didn't pay any agency to do this. We did this in-house. So 5,000 was basically me and an intern traveling to, as you saw, Spain, Egypt, and Greece, and hiring some equipment and lots of days and lots of work of making it happen. So basically what I wanted to say is that sometimes maybe we don't have the big budgets, but we can still do a lot of good things. And I started small, so we did this dedicated campaign for our frontline staff. We hire a lot of people who do have customer-facing roles at Vodafone. And with the help of a very creative person who was an intern for about 6 months in the team, one of the things that we did was this. And now, as a result, I actually have someone a little bit more permanent and a little bit more experienced in my team. So that was a win, and also this is a very well-received campaign in the markets that it went out to. Another thing that I have learned, and I do probably think that this might not be the case for everyone, but it's good to think about what is your competitive advantage. So we definitely in HR must have something that other teams can want or like or can make use of, and that's going to give us a little bit of leverage. For me, for example, that is our LinkedIn page, which has about 1.2 million followers. And it's, oh my God, it brings so much content our way. So many people want to, want their stories to be promoted. And I think we're using it in the right way because we do need their content and their stories to post there. So it works well for us that we have something that we can give to other teams and then they can give us their stories or content back. We also have invested in a couple of platforms. One is called Pepperfly, which helps us to create branded employer brand content without the need of an agency. So you can have your in-house people to basically create assets that are specific to a template and with your brand guidelines. And again, in that case, we would just go to our internal comms colleagues and say, here's a tool we've paid, you can use it for free, and in return they can give us more stories or whatever needed. And we also have a video platform, which these two platforms honestly didn't really cost that much, which helps us to create user-generated content, and again, we offer it out to many different parts of the business as our leverage. And I guess the last thing that I wanted to say was I think employer brand is relatively new. I mean, there's so many conferences and there's so many things happening, but it's still a lot of things to learn. So I think it's best to just do your best and also enjoy basically what you're doing. Sometimes it also takes trial and error. There are things that maybe worked in marketing or worked in another company. You try it, maybe it didn't work for you. As long as there's some learning, it's totally fine. But it's also good to have fun and take advantage of your role to do what's best for the company. So, for example, I'm going to show you one of my favorite campaigns, which is about our global youth campaign, so targeting young people to work at Vodafone. And we had a lot of fun doing this, and it definitely envisioned all of our EVP values and working with different parts of the business in many different markets. So we have Germany, Greece, Netherlands, Lesotho, South Africa, lots of different people, and actually just making this a really interesting role. But I think if I will leave you with something is that employer brand is all about authenticity as well. So there's a lot of things that we do try to say and try to do, but in reality, you have to let people speak their true selves. So in most of these videos that you saw, or these campaigns that we have created, we don't really work with scripts. So we encourage people to basically express their own views and say how they feel. And that's how I will close it. And I have a closing video with our global youth campaign that went out last year. Oops.
Lights, cameras, I'm ready for showtime. Up Instagram next. Let it go viral. Moonwalking in the box, I am so Michael. Hardy, is it cool with you? We could do something that means slicing too. Rim next. Yeah, the slalom got us out for hours. And the bomb sitting higher than the Eiffel Tower. Now I'm stunting like a big timer. The boys started from the bottom like Drake. I'm a big climber. Got my money up, turn the S to a dollar sign. Texting OB the promoter like it's Bob time.
And I will leave you with this cute dancing shark because apparently it makes everyone smile. So thank you so much for your time.